Hi guys, I hope you're good. Last time I was on the Thames coming from Teddington to Brentford. In this video, my neighbour Richard has kindly agreed to let me continue our adventure as we tackle the Hanwell Flight of Locks. This is where we left you last time, just after Brentford Lock, where we took a well-earned rest. After a lovely lunch, it was time to set off again. The weather was still all over the place, but we weren't deterred. Here we are, setting off again, and I've sped things up a bit to get us there quicker. Even though Richard is a bit of a speed demon, you don't get anywhere in a hurry on the canals. We're still in Brentford and heading for Hanwell, which is where I grew up. Hanwell's in West London in the borough of Ealing. It's most famous for the Warncliffe Viaduct, designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. We'll see another one of his creations later on in this video. This is my cue to tell you all the other reasons that Hanwell is famous. But there aren't any. We'll be doing 8 locks today, and although they're called the Hanwell Flight, technically some of them are across the border in Southall, although nobody from Hanwell would ever actually admit that. It's a bit of a West London disputed territory. We're just about to come up to the first lock now, but Richard is having a little bit of difficulty.
You think you're still on the Thames?
Completely gone. Completely lost it there. Brain just went completely...
Richard honestly does have years and years of narrowboat experience. He can drive.
He just has periods of being a complete idiot as well.
How boring would it be if we weren't all a bit idiotic sometimes?
Correct. Now, are they going to let us in? Do they have space? Are they going our way? I think they are.
They are, yeah. Oh,
They are.
oh.
Yes.
That's nice.
Well, that's good actually. That means we'll share the locks with them all the way up.
Yeah.
Make life a lot easier. There are nice people in the narrowboating world.
As you can see, we were very lucky to meet another boat in the lock. They were also doing the whole flight and had 3 people on board, meaning that we would be able to get through the locks very quickly. 2 people could do one lock whilst another went ahead to set the next one. Every time I've been out on my boat, or on anyone else's boat, I've done all of the driving, so I've never really had to do any locks, so it was really nice to get my hands dirty. Also, because I was off the boat, I got to make a big fuss of the other people's dog. So we're safely through the first lock, only 7 more to go. On his way down, Richard had to do all of the locks by himself, and they were all set against him. If you look to your right, and please excuse the shoddy camera work, there is a heron, and just up here there's a cormorant spreading open his wings. I didn't even know what a cormorant was 12 months ago, so that's just another thing to be grateful for living on a boat. And doing this trip today just reminded me what it is I love so much about West London.
It still doesn't feel like being in London. There's a tube station just on the other side of it.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost at Boston Manor.
Cool. Is this a tube line then over this bridge?
Yeah, that's the Piccadilly line. Yeah, so we've got Ostable Park over that way.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh yeah, there it
yeah,
is.
so that's going into London.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
One thing that East and West do have in common though, which I know a lot of you don't like, is graffiti.
I'm surprised there's no one living there. I'm surprised there's no one living there.
Yeah.
That would be...
That's one trick Brunel missed. He never decorated his bridges with sort of alien alien beings?
No. So he's revered, there's statues, there's universities named after him.
Yeah.
Did he do alien graffiti? No.
If he'd done that, he might have been a success.
Yeah.
Just the one missing ingredient.
See, if only we were there to tell him that.
Yeah. Time machine.
Yes! We will send the new doctor back to tell Brunel, get your graffiti game on. So I do the big one first, and then the one on the gate, yeah?
Yes.
And which way do I turn it?
It may simply be a question of...
Remember I said I didn't have much lock experience. By that I meant I didn't have any, so I was getting some advice from Richard, so as not to embarrass myself in front of the other boaters. To my relief, I found out that I was doing everything right, but unfortunately some of the locks on this section are really stiff, which was a little bit overwhelming considering it was my first time. But we've made it through safely and we're continuing on our way. Something that the area is kind of well known for is the Hanwell Carnival, which happens once a year. It started in 1898 and is actually the second largest carnival in London, second only to Notting Hill. It starts with a parade from the community centre, which used to be a school, and Charlie Chaplin was a student there. The parade used to come past the end of my road, and it ended in Elthorne Park, which is just on the right hand side of the video, and just beyond the park is a school of the same name where I spent 5 miserable years. As we carried on, I noticed even more new flats. There are still some industrial buildings, but I wonder if they're still in operation. As we got into the next lock, it seemed that Richard's Thames syndrome had returned. It doesn't really show up very well on the video, but it was a really windy day that day, and I'm still massively impressed with his boat handling skills. Quite often there are volunteers on the flight who will do the locks for you. We were coming through late in the afternoon, so they'd already finished work for the day, but I have seen them out and about before, and they do a fantastic job. So this boat here is the reason that I wanted to get my own boat. I used to see it all the time and think that it would be really cool to live on a narrowboat, and I wasn't wrong. Now, Richard asked me at this point if we were passing a prison, but it's okay, it's only the hospital. My dad died in there, actually, and that was a bit of a conversation killer. This lock here is called Asylum Lock, because there used to be an asylum in Hanwell, which was actually the first one to open in England. It was later renamed St Bernard's Hospital, which you can see there. After my dad died when I was 15, my home life became a bit dysfunctional, and someone did some really bad things to me. I used to escape from the house and come walking along this part of the canal, sometimes with my dogs, to clear my head and just to be alone. I don't know if there are any psychological studies into the calming effects of being near water, but for me, it makes even the worst things less bad. Here's a happier fact for you. Have you ever noticed coconuts floating in the canal? Well, that's a Hindu sacrifice. Coconuts are used because they're biodegradable and they have human features like hair and a mouth. It's not something you see in East London, so that's one nice thing about being home. By now, I was really starting to get the hang of the locks. Even though I was covered in bruises from the windlass, and I did need a massage afterwards, I actually really enjoyed it. Now, as promised, another Brunel creation. This is 3 bridges. where the canal, the railway and the road all cross each other. This was actually Brunel's last project before he died a couple of months after completion. So now we're in Norwood Green, which is kind of the no man's land between Hanwell and Southall. So technically we have completed the Hanwell flight of locks, but after doing 6, you may as well do 2 more. Also, it doesn't really look like the nicest place to moor up for the night here. So we carried on with our new travelling companions into the final 2 locks. Once we were through those, then Richard would look for somewhere nice to moor up for the night. That also meant that the next day he could travel through all of central London and he wouldn't come up to another lock until he got to Camden. I was so happy that I got the opportunity to accompany him. I didn't stop smiling for about a week afterwards, and I'm so glad that you guys have been able to join us on the journey as well. Please subscribe so you don't miss any videos, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.